Okay, I'm getting lazy, and I have an okay amount of juice, so I'm going to actually gamble the randomize influence. Attempt to hit a Crusader ring here, so I could replace this one as opposed to waiting for a Crusader Exalt. So we're going to click this a couple times and hope. Okay, I guess it was that easy. So, sweet. It's right here.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
he lost it.
right here.
I'm losing it.
It's got 35% increased effect.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And T1 perfectly defined intelligence. 50-50, boys. Either one is good.
It either happens or it doesn't.
True. No!
No, the worst one to hit.
No! To lose more again. Okay. 21-23. Okay. I have bought
Chris Wilson.
so much stuff. Please.
In Chris we trust.
Oh, Eric.
Okay, and we're leaving. And we're leaving. This is attempt number 2. Ah. Shipments. 2 divines. Oh, yes. I'm going after the warp. Let's go. And the reservation one. Pretty good, too. Ooh. That's good. That is... We need that.
At some point, she feels guilty or gets sad.
Oh!
Fucking bitches.
10 divs! Let's go!
Yay! Yay! Good job.
Or defines. That's pretty good. Whispers. Corruption altar. Boom.
She's not going anywhere. She's just standing there saying things.
Okay. Got another one. Hiya. Oh. Hey. That's pretty good.
It is good.
Nice.
The damage with attack skills is nice, and all res, I mean, it's just free,
Yeah.
right?
It's just better, yeah. Jewel. Pause. Mana. I mean, it's technically good on my other guy, but... Boom. Yay! Oh. I know what we're gambling. Oh! A full orb? Let's go. We missed on our last attempt, and so now we try again. Yes. No shot. That was so fast. What? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's it. Okay. And it's just gonna be ES. Nah. Dang. Almost. Oh. Ow. Which Bane? No. Hold on, babe. I don't think you understand what just happened. I wasn't even recording because I didn't think anything could possibly happen that would matter. And I went to just go turn in a void card, and it just gave me a Chevron's Revelation.
Is that a big deal?
It is a big deal because, one, I was looking for this. And two, I don't know what the hell this came from, because the only Chevron's Revelation card that exists is one that gives a corrupted one, but this is not corrupted. So this has to have just been from, like, either a Shav item card or a random ring card, both of which is very unreasonable. But that's really funny.
Did you just get super lucky?
I did just get super lucky.
Yay!
Yes. Gravy. Okay. Cool, I guess. Jesus. Okay. That's still too hot to drink. Well then. Hey, how's it going? We're here to talk about Smite Trickster again. Probably final update, if I had to guess. Realistically, probably won't push it too much farther than this, just based on time and sanity, frankly. Made quite a few good upgrades since the last video. You can see we're up to 22k energy shield. Main upgrades to note from last time, generally polishing off all of our rare gear. Most of this hasn't changed, but we have our knife attack speed while focused gloves. We have our triple T1 shield with mediocre suffixes, and we got a slightly better chest from doing Eldritch Chaos orbs to essentially just get the int. This obviously could be much better with continuing to Eldritch Chaos, Exalt, and Null until we get a real spell suppress roll. And then also I'm missing the 8% defense enchant from Heist 2, but Heist is pretty despair, so I didn't feel like doing that. Most notable upgrades: Ephemeral Edge, we got the Nut, Fortify, and Resolute Technique. Yes, I am missing the attack speed enchant. One thing that is decent to note is that the attack speed enchant, if you haven't done the math, it's like 2.5% more damage. So yes, this is not min-maxed, but I don't really care that much. I'm being completely honest. Ancient Orb and Ephemeral Edge, I had a double corrupt. I didn't feel like waiting for yellow juice. Such is life. We move on. But this is still really cool. And then Chevron's Ring as well. Missing a couple defense catalysts on this, but in general, it's giving me like, you know, over 2,000, 2,200 energy shield. So Ring is absolutely crazy. One decent thing to call out here is that I have swapped off of Coiling Whisper. I did this for a couple of reasons. One, I kind of just felt like it. And two, I wanted to try out some other sort of options with doing some of the pathing and setting up the build. When I got the shavs and I wanted to put it on, I do have percent increased intelligence bound by destiny, and so I really wanted to keep that, you know, 14% increased int, because we're talking like 100 intelligence that we end up getting from that. And so I thought this would seem pretty fair. And then also, frankly, I really needed the little bit of extra resistances that this came with. Resistances were a bit of a pain to get. Otherwise, I felt like I had decent res between a lot of my pieces of gear. But even so, this was still kind of tough to end up capping. I even had to grab these couple of survivalist nodes to really make everything work as well too. But ultimately, it still feels pretty good. Obviously, the main difference being that Coiling Whisperer, you get the 45 Soul Eater stacks, which is like 225% increase attack speed, and so you need to supplement that elsewhere in your build by really focusing on attack speed there. So the way that I did that was obviously crafting an endgame lightning large cluster. So effect into ES and attack and cast speed with lightning skills. The 35 effect and 3% means that each of these are 4% increased attack speed, which helps out quite a bit. And then I replaced a number of my unique jewels with ES and attack speed. So really focused on those being the target here. So we got ES attack speed, ES attack speed, ES attack speed, so on and so forth. So, right now we're at just under 3 attacks, or just over 3 attacks per second. When we focus up, we go down to 4 attacks per second, and while focused, it still feels pretty good in general. We'll also get onslaught while mapping, so that feels pretty decent too. Realistically, I don't think it's going to feel amazing until you get a Mage Blood or a second large cluster with attack speed on it. This other large that I have for sword attacks, I would say still is generally pretty good, and Feel the Fight actually does quite well. The attack leech is better than I originally expected, because the additional uptime that it provides to your tincture through the mana burn, really delaying, how long the mana will bottom out. Even with the 82 mana, having the attack leech and the flat regen from Shav's Revelations, this tincture ends up lasting, close to 30 seconds on uptime if you're just sitting and single targeting out a boss, which is quite nice. One unfortunate thing to note is that, at least for me, this build is going to look a little, I guess, weird compared to some other builds you may see online, because I still don't have a Doriani's prototype. Level 99, gotten various things. I think I've gotten two T0s at this point. Abinos and a Galandra's Touch, but no Doriani's. We're still just chilling here with our striker, pretty much just giving some defense and then lucky damage and then some endurance charges. Pretty much all we're using here. But I don't know, such is life. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So my build and tree is focused a decent bit more on penetration than other builds you'll probably see. And that's, required to offset the lack of pen. So because I dropped the Coiling Whisper, that means I am able to run a conductivity. So that helps with pen. I'm using Awakened Lightning pen here instead of the sort of more standard Energy Shield Leech. And then from the nodes that I had previously had pathing over to Window of Opportunity, I instead went and grabbed this Forces of Nature cluster and grabbed the 18% exposure. Since the exposure from Lightning Pen is only 10%, that dang near doubles what we get here. So that's pretty nice too. One thing to call out from an attacks perspective, building Eldritch Implicits versus masteries, I have opted to go for the option of getting additional strike on gloves, and then I'm actually using a lethal pride here to get rage, and then I have the attack mastery for monsters can't block your attacks. This is particularly nice when running 17s, 16.5s alongside, cartography scarabs of risk. Just decent. It's another mod that's essentially free. You can just ignore it. If you don't care about that or don't want to, you can certainly grab the additional strike from this attack mastery, get rage on hit on gloves, and then you don't have to run a lethal pride at all. Also, if you're not doing precise technique and you don't path around here at all, you can grab, this multi-shot cluster for attacks for the additional strike. Obviously, the multi-shot is not useful for smite, but the attack speed nodes aren't completely dead. Alternatively, for the block, you could grab the sword node too. It's 50% reduced chance to block, which is okay. It will generally mean even with map effect, you're not going to, hit 100%, but it'll still feel, I would say, reasonably clunky, depending on what you're doing. Overall, build is pretty good. I've killed a couple Ubers. I've done an Uber Shaper that I forgot to record. I've done an Uber Elder. I technically failed an Uber Cirrus, but I tried to do that on the totem character where I didn't have corrupted blood immunity, so that was just me kind of memeing all my portals, I guess. But that's okay. Damage is, honestly, I would say pretty average. Without the Dorianis, obviously, we're hindered a little bit on the overall damage. We're probably sitting somewhere around the like 4 to 5 mil mark, which I would say for how defensive we are is completely serviceable. The Uber Elder kill was fine. It was pretty comfortable. It wasn't, lightning fast, but I was, in absolutely no sense close to dying at all. So overall, that felt pretty good. I would say, just from my general take on playing the build for quite a while now, from a softcore perspective, and especially a softcore trade perspective, there's kind of no reason not to just go Energy Blade. It's probably at least double your damage, and a lot of the effective tankiness that you get is still pretty much there. If I were to turn Energy Blade on right now, I would still be at like 10.5, 11k energy shield ultimately, and my tooltip would go from 586 probably up to about 800,000. Now, obviously, you would have to supplement this for getting some additional accuracy here, because there's no realistic way that you're going to get Resolute Technique, but you can also go crit. If you have different gear with better spell suppress rolls, you can essentially drop this entire left side that I've pathed through, and you can go crit. You can grab the, not Brutal Blade, the other one, Fatal Blade. You can get Frenzy charges. You can either grab the Acuity or Depth Perception node when you're min-maxing. The accuracy rating equal to your int really carries getting accuracy capped. And then you can instead kind of path up here and, take this jewel socket as your third large cluster to really min-max it. So if you really want to eke out the most DPS as possible and, forego a bit of the defense, but being that you're a trickster, you'll still be reasonably tanky, I think Crit Energy Blade is probably the better option. For this build, though, if you want to go precise technique and resolute technique, the sort of final form, of course, is what Ben's doing. Going block and having a Mage Blood, Melding of Flesh, 90 all res. Dropping all of these nodes, instead pathing through these 4 nodes to grab precise technique, and likely just tattooing out pretty much all of your dex nodes to either cap suppress or fix resistances is likely going to be the best thing. And yeah, once again, sort of pathing through here on the left side. So overall, build is quite enjoyable. Unfortunate that Smite is still kind of the best option. Lightning Strike, funnily enough, is actually still a pretty decent option as well too. But if you're going to go Lightning Strike or Molten Strike, which is also pretty good, you're probably looking at more of a Nimbus angle. I did try out a couple other things while I was going through and playing the build. I also tried out Static Strike. That felt okay. And I also tried out Wild Strike of the Extremes. So this actually felt pretty decent for a large period of time. The main thing here is that it has the sort of built-in Rakiatas, or Ellie Res being inverted. So the tech, if you want to call it that, is running a Purity of Lightning, and then using the Rune Graft of Treachery, which makes your Purity of Lightning affect enemies. So your enemies will have 79, 80 all res, and then you invert that. So you get some free pseudo pen from Wild Strike of Extremes. So this is a decent early option, and the cost of being a bunch of weird things of life mana and ES is offset in almost its entirety by Whispers. I say almost in its entirety because technically if you do go here, it ends up costing 350 energy shield, which obviously I'm at 22k, so it's not too bad. But if you're running Energy Blade or something like that, the like almost 400 energy shield actually starts to become a pretty big chunk. And if you're running Shavs and Ghost Reaver, you don't really want to just sit here and spam it, because you might kill yourself with it. But overall that's fine. But yeah, in general, build is pretty fun. I kind of hope that Whispers dies a painful death, because I think this amulet is stupid, but I'll gladly use it for this league. You may see here on the left side that, speaking of, I'm definitely farming and going to play a Forbidden Rite of Soul Sacrifice build, because, to be completely honest, if you don't have a Dorianes, I think Forbidden Rite's kind of just better, and it fits the general same mold of being a tanky ES build. So I'm going to be doing that. Probably won't make a build on it, build video, but if you want one, feel free to let me know. But let's see. Is there anything else to note? Nothing major. One thing to call out, just in case you're not aware, so talking about crafting the large cluster jewels. So the main way you want to go about doing this, as you have three options. You have lightning damage, attack damage while holding a shield, and then sword and axe attacks with the three large cluster types that you can use. Lightning damage clusters have the highest likelihood of rolling the mods you want, because they have the fewest total mods in the pool. And then it's attack damage while holding a shield, and then it's sword and axe attacks. So that would be sort of your preference in that order. One thing that I guess is worth noting is that if you're doing a lightning damage cluster, you will get this attack and cast speed with lightning skills. So if you want to use them and use all of the mods, you need to use a lightning skill with it. So if you did want to switch and try a different attack, or I don't know, do spectral throw of Charthus or something like that, that is something to think about. You may instead want to spend your money and time spending crafting attack damage while holding a shield clusters, where you can just get more open-ended attack speed. But in general, the way that you craft it is you attempt to alt, spam, harvest, reforge, whatever it is, to get I guess as many of these affixes as you possibly can, and then either one, you craft it perfectly, or you get hopefully somewhere between 2 and 3 of the good affixes, and then you throw a fracturing orb. I did that. I hit the 3% attack and cast speed, and then the 35% effect. In general, between the 4 affixes, the attack and cast speed is the one that you actually don't want to fracture. because that is the one that you can guarantee target with Harvest Reforges. So preferably you would fracture the int ES or the effect, and then if it's specifically a lightning damage cluster, once you have fractured one of those 3 other mods, you can actually go here to the harvest bench and lightning damage cluster. You can reforge attack. The attack and cast speed with lightning skills is the only attack modifier on the large cluster. So you can just click reforge attack a bunch of times until you get all of the mods you want. If you were doing an attack damage while holding a shield or a sword and axe cluster, you can do the same thing to guarantee the attack speed, but you will have to do reforge speed, which is obviously, you know, twice as costly. So for a bang for your buck aspect, if you want to stick with lightning skills, lightning damage clusters is by far the best option that you've got here. But otherwise, that is everything that I've got for you. If you want to see a Forbidden Right build video, let me know. Otherwise, if you have any thoughts or questions about the Smite build, feel free to drop them in the comments, and thank you very much.